Of course, I am thrilled at all of the eyes that are now on women's sports. I think we are truly in one of the most important moments just in terms of attention and spotlight on what women are doing in their sports. I think, though, we can't fail them. And sometimes it feels as though the coverage, the narratives, the discourse around women's sports has not moved as quickly as the eyes on women. And that's why we're hearing so many people maybe misspeak about a subject or make a young woman feel a way that she shouldn't. The commentary and all of our information and our knowledge has to meet the moment. And I don't necessarily know if right now it is meeting the moment.
I completely agree with you. I'll give you an example of what I think you're saying. About 2 years ago when Sabrina was a rookie, she came with me to Kevin's birthday and she came with a bunch of her teammates. And 2 or 3 people that were at the club saw them walk in and brought them over to where we were all sitting, and they were kind of clearing out of the way. And the person that brought them over introduced her, Sabrina, in front of all of her teammates to a bunch of guys that were sitting at the booth with us. And they said, "This is the greatest female basketball player in the world right here," pointing to Sabrina. She hadn't even played, or she had only played 1 year in the league. And that was because of the hype that Sabrina had gotten. But imagine how she felt in front of her teammates, or how her teammates felt. And that would never have happened in the NBA, right? You never would have had even Wemby. You would never have the first pick in the draft or a really renowned young person in the league walk into a room and someone have the gall to say, "This is the greatest 100%. Basketball player in the world." But everyone is aware that there's eyeballs on women's sports, but the need to go educate yourself on the sport, the differences in the sport, who these women are, what their stories are, what the stakes are, is important.
Very.
Because what you're probably saying is there's like this hollow coverage in some ways. And while the coverage is incredible because there was none,
it isn't complete.
It's not complete.
Yeah, completely. And your example was spot on. It's exactly what I mean. I think people are mistaking having some of the story for having the full story without even realizing that the reason that they have that view is that they are in some ways diminishing what women's sports even is. How almost, I'll say ignorant for lack of a better word. How ignorant do you have to be to think that if you watch something for a day or two, you're an expert? Right? To have consumed a piece of information about Sabrina in your example and feel as though that's the story. You don't do that with anything else. You don't do it with anything else. We are consuming all of this and then thinking that it makes us experts. And the reason that can be damaging is when the people that are actually supposed to be deemed as experts in the field are doing the same thing. And that's why who covers stories is important, how we get the story, how we talk about athletes, the language that we use, all of that matters. Because if we want this moment to be more than just a moment, which honestly at this point I feel very confident that it is, we really have to meet it in real ways. And that is a responsibility on all of us in the media to make sure we are seeing them in their fullness and seeing the sport in their fullness.